So everything we're doing, our why, has to come from this place of I'm 100% sure of who I am, who I'm working with, how I can help people, why this offer makes sense, and why this is the best choice for them. If we're not feeling that, we got to then do some work on working backwards. My background was in private education, and when I would work with new reps, they would say, well, I don't want to sell people into these courses that I don't believe in. Well, then what's the trick? We got to go believe in them. We got to go find out, where are the jobs? What do the instructors say? What are other students saying? Who have we helped before that this makes sense for? Okay. And so now I think about you. What are you known for? So coming into, especially if you're becoming an ISPA member, is you've already got a track record experience. This isn't something that is like a rebirth. This is something where you're adding on to what you're already doing. What do your clients currently say? What does your family say? What are you known for in terms of who you are and what you stand for? If I introduce you, how should I do it? This has been sort of big game changer for me, especially when it comes to personal branding, is I would have friends that would say, hey, you need to work with Joe. And then they would say a bunch of stuff that isn't quite what I'm about. I say, oh, okay, that's not quite right. So I need to make sure that my why is clear, that I'm conveying it to others, communicating it, and they're able to convey it to other people. This is how referrals, introductions really take off. If you have a superpower, what is it? Are you very clear on how you help people? Right? My superpowers, I'm really good at taking lots of complex ideas, distilling them down into actionable strategies so people can go, let's get going. In the next 30 days, we can get some wins. And the next 90 days, we're going to really set some things in motion. That's what I'm good at, right? I'm really good at galvanizing a team and organizing people on a shared vision and a shared path. What is your superpower? And are you known for your business or for yourself? And that's why it's not yourself, it's yourself. Okay. Are you known for just the service or the product you have? Are you a transaction in the mind of your customer? Or are you somebody that they seek out? One of the things we talk about is that customers are usually about 60% of the way through the buying process before they even engage with a supplier. Are they coming to you when they've already decided what they need and say, I need this from you, how much is it? Or are they saying, hey, we're thinking about this direction, we're thinking about doing these things, could you help us explore how we do that? And the reason they're going to do that is because you have a strong why on how you're helping people, and they understand what your why is. Okay. So this is what I call a brand stance. So we've talked about personal branding before, but this is hand in hand, the why and your brand stance. Okay, cool. Thumbs up if you like that. Now, this is where I went from the why, and I really think that the power of stories really leans into your why very, very strongly. And what we talk about is and when we talk about salesperson, we talk about sales is not a swear word, so now we can say sales all we want because we're allowed to swear here. So if sales isn't a swear word, we're all in sales. I'm trying to convince my girlfriend to do something. I'm trying to convince my dog to put that bone down. I'm trying to get her to come back in the house. Most of my selling comes from me getting my dog to do stuff. But how are we trying to make sure that we're different? And the way that we're different is through trust. Joy, anticipation, trust is a big one. And so when we think about this, storytelling, there's a lot of really, really powerful stuff that happens in our brain. One, it's neural coupling. So when we look at this, is when we hear a story, if we just hear a bunch of facts and figures, so if I just give you this book and give you all these words and say, now remember this, you go, okay, I think I got it. How many times have you read a book and you're two pages in, you go, I don't even know what I just read. Right? The neural coupling is the reason the stories activate in our limbic system that go, I know that affects me in this way. That relates to me. So now I'm coupled to this story. Then mirroring. So now when I hear a story, I go, it activates parts in my brain. We talked about mirroring last week or last webinar, but when mirror neurons start to kick in, we say, okay, that feels like me. Okay. So your story has to feel like the audience. Dopamine, of course, we're going to make it more exciting. So the more you tell a story, especially if you have cliffhangers, we'll do a lot of stuff on stories in one of our sessions that we do. But the more interesting that story is, the more it relates to somebody, the more associative context they have, the more powerful that story is. So when you're talking to somebody about your why, and when you're talking about the reason I'm doing this is because I'm excited to help people do this. For example, I had somebody who was doing this, and this is what they were experiencing. And by the way that we helped them do this, all of a sudden they were able to do this. They go, oh man, that sounds like what I'm dealing with. And it's the fastest way instead of trying to beat them over the head with logic and spreadsheets. And then the last part is the cortex activity. is when we tell a good story, it actually, like if you're sleeping, you have your leg twitch, right? You get I remember from Seinfeld, the Jimmy leg, is if your leg ever twitches, that's what this is. The Broca's, the Wernicke's areas is the motor cortex, sensory cortex, frontal cortex. Your brain goes, ah. So if you're listening to a good story, that's why people lean in. That's why they tilt their head. That's why they access parts of their brain. Is when you tell a good story, you're basically locking it into their brain. So when you're telling stories in your business, especially when you talk about your why and why you're doing it, people now can associate what they're trying to do with your why, which then translates to their why, which translates to their action. Okay. When we also tell stories, we evaluate it. We go from that logic to that artistic side. We want to move them left to right. And the way we do that is say, hey, can I tell you a story? You know what? That reminds me. That reminds me of this. Could I tell you something that this sounds like? Yeah. Right? Story structure. Now, if you look at story structure, there's a lot of ways stories are built. And it basically goes like this, all since the beginning of time. It goes, this is what's happening. These are some things that happen to this guy. There's bad guys, there's challenges, and then all of a sudden there's middle. Then there's the climax, and it's called the denouement or the falling action. And this goes all the time. There's the hero's journey. They fall like this, but stories are like this for one reason, is that if you just told a story that was chapter 1, everything's fine, chapter 2, everything's fine, chapter 3, everything's fine, and chapter 4, I'm the hero and this is what we did and everybody had a good time. That doesn't help anybody. We need to be able to tell them there was some problems and we really had an aha. And if you're feeling challenged and you're feeling this, especially if you can be vulnerable, it's really important. Okay. So story structure goes, what's my point? So I want you to think about this. And this, again, this does tap into your why. When you're telling people about your story, when you're telling them about other people's stories, you have to go, in this point in their journey, what am I trying to get them to do? If you're just trying to get somebody on the phone with you, your story should be about somebody that had a hard time getting on the phone. If your story is to get them to take that first step, your story should be about that person that had a hard time taking that first step. So you want to get segmented stories, segmented testimonials, things that really affect them in different ways.